Good morning.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with another edition of Wild Wednesdays brought to you by 10K TV. Fellas, Sarge,
Yes.
Veach, we got ya.
I'm here,
How are we
baby.
doing?
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. It's good to kind of see you. I can't see you, but I can hear you, which is
You
great.
can't see me.
No, we're making sure we don't fuck up with the TV too much.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, Veach. It took a lot of finagling and whatnot to get this working, and I'm at the don't fucking touch anything type of thing,
Yep.
and
Yep,
so
yep,
like
yep.
the TV. Yeah, Johnson can't see you, but he can hear you. So
That's
this
the
is actually like
important
good old fashioned radio, and I get to see both of you. And by the way, you guys are both so goddamn good looking.
hey, it's Wednesday night. You got to show up, right?
Yeah, it must be
You know,
because you're
I don't-
bulldogs.
Look good,
Yeah.
podcast good. Isn't that the saying?
Yeah, a face for radio. That's kind of what I'm getting out of it. And you know what? I don't usually encourage fibbing, lying, or anything of the sort. But when it's a compliment to me, I'll take it. I'm just going to blindly accept those.
Well, it is April Fool's Day, which is crazy. Sarge and I were just talking about that. I feel like April Fool's Day has kind of lost its luster. But I thought before we get into the show, did you guys ever get April Fooled really good, like when you were like growing up, or was there like a moment in time that like stands out? I thought that'd be a good conversation starter to tonight's show.
Give me a second to think about it because I know I have. I just don't remember
'Kay.
like what it would be at this time. And I'm sure it was something in college, like in college actually. Here's the thing. There's one. UMD,
Go Dogs.
for those that have went there, go Dogs. Like many college campuses, parking is an absolute nightmare. There is,
Atrocious.
there's lots that are reserved for faculty and staff that are like a quarter full and
Yep.
nobody can park in there, or you're going to get your car towed. And then all of the student lots are about half the size and way further away, and there's never any spots there unless you get there first thing in the morning. And so luckily one day I had finally found a spot in there, gone into class. I went to engineering school like an idiot. I would highly recommend nobody go and do that. I think if you go for a business school, you're going to have way more fun, make way more friends. Your life will be better.
Are you saying you'd make different life choices?
I would certainly make different life choices. Not to say I don't enjoy the people I work with now. I'm just saying
Nerds.
college would have been a lot more fun. Anyway, so I was in class. I come back out. I'm just, beat. It's been like 7 hours or something. I'm sitting at the college, which doesn't sound like a lot now that I work a full 8-hour day. But in college, it's a long time
Oh
to be
yeah.
there.
Yep.
Yes.
I walk out and my car is not where I left it. And I'm just like, there's no way I got towed when I'm finally in like a spot that I'm supposed to be in. I got the student pass. I waited 6 hours in line to get that, which is a whole different story.
That was
And
the
then,
worst.
I just cut my losses at that point because it's a crappy car. I'm in college, and I walk back to my buddy's house, which is just down the road past the stadium apartments, that
Yep.
RAP. But it's sitting in their driveway. They just took my car and brought it back to their house and didn't tell me, and made me think I got it towed. And I'm just like, you guys are the worst. So that little moment of panic,
Yeah.
and then, like the 2 seconds it took for me to just say, I'm done with it. That car doesn't exist to me anymore. And then to find it later on. That was the one time I got
Okay.
really good.
God, I don't have anything that comes to mind. I really don't, which sucks. I wish I had a cool story like Veach, but I don't.
I don't either. I was just trying to remember.
Well,
No.
you brought it up and you didn't bring any ammo. You brought an
I
empty
brought
clip to the
nothing.
table.
My memory is terrible. I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone what I was doing 3 hours before the show. It's just insane. So that's what happens, I think, once you kind of reach that 30-ish plateau, is your brain cells start to misremember everything and misconstrue everything. Doesn't matter what it is. All right. Well, I think with that, you guys, I think we can jump right into our regularly programmed schedule and jump right into Stick Taps, which I'm super excited for tonight's show. I think we're going to have a lot of good college hockey talk. Wink, wink. We'll talk about the Wild and their lack of play, and then some upcoming contests, and then we'll round it out with Wild Takes. So let's jump right into stick taps. What order do we want to go in tonight?
Veach, we haven't had him on in weeks because I've had
All right,
technical
Veach is
difficulties.
batting lead off.
Okay. I know you let it in with like a wink and a nod at college hockey, and I do want to get into that. I am going to give my stick tap at this point to just parents in general. Anybody that has been a parent before me, I had no idea how much work it actually was. Like you think you know, you don't know. Like my glasses are still full of water. We just got done with bath time. Lovely wife is up there taking care of him, drying him off, getting ready for bed or whatever, and I'll go say
Shout out Miss Veach.
bed. Yep, thank you.
Shout out parents.
So yeah, parents in general, you don't have to be great at it as long as you're putting the effort in and trying to be good at it. And for those that are doing that, I commend you. Stick taps.
I like
Wow,
it.
that was sentimental.
That was great.
Did you have a hard couple weeks since we've last spoke, or what's the context here?
There's no context. I just feel like I'm tired, and it's just, I'm not doing anything. Like I play hockey on Sundays. Otherwise, I don't really do much for working out. My father-in-law was just here doing a ton of projects on the house, so I didn't have to. I just feel like the kids are fun. You play with them. You have a ton of joy and making memories and whatnot. And then at the end of the day, you're just like, I'm too tired to
Do
binge
anything.
watch stupid TV shows, and I just fall asleep in bed and wake up and do it all over again. So it's a grind, but it's lovely.
Kind of sounds a little bit like Groundhog Day, if you've ever seen that movie.
Yeah, a little bit.
Of course.
A little bit.
Wake up, rinse, repeat. All right, Sarge, do you want to go next, and I'll round us
Yeah,
out?
fuck it. Dude, I'm going to give myself stick taps for figuring out this collab cam,
Humble.
which you know what? It ended up being a simple fix. And you know what? I didn't use the manual. I didn't go on Google. I troubleshooted my goddamn self,
Couple
and I
buttons.
figured it out almost instantly. Johnson and I got here a little bit earlier. I'm like, Johnson, bring your laptop, because my laptop charger doesn't work. And I, of course, ordered the wrong one. So maybe that's a half stick tap. But I digress. Got this working. I'm pumped. Good to have you on, Veach. I missed you.
I will say, I know, John's poking a little bit of fun at you, which that's just what we do as guys. But I don't know if I mentioned this the last time I was on or not, but people don't give themselves or others around them enough credit, like while they're around or when they do something good. So you know what, Sarge? Great job. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah,
thing.
buddy. Fucking
huge.
right.
It's huge, especially on a night like this. Like, I'm no means like a college hockey expert. I know the Bulldogs, and that's about the highest level of my college hockey notes. And with the Frozen Four upcoming, wanted to make sure that we could have you a part of the show. So, Sarge, great job getting the collab cam going. Now you can check us out on OnlyFans too once we get that account up and running.
Dude, subscribe to see my belly button.
You think you're tough? All right. I will round us out with stick taps then, and then we'll go on to take a lap. Speaking of Duluth, I was telling Sarge this on the way over here, Veach, but my stick tap goes out to our former UMD Bulldog goalie, Adam Guyon, who signed a 2-year entry-level contract today with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Fucking
for
right.
just over $1 million. So congrats to him. I'm very sad to see him go, and it makes me a
Correct.
little nervous for the future. However, I do happen to know a little bit about our, I think it was a transfer, but AJ Riles, who is UMD's or one of our incoming players, coached with his dad up at Proctor when I was going to school there, and he was a phenomenal goaltender in high school. And I think he's had a pretty decent junior career, if I remember correctly. So excited to see what he's going to bring to the table, if he'll get the starting nod or if there will be someone else that comes along and maybe pushes him for that starting job. So congrats to Adam Guyon, but very sad to see you go. You will be fondly remembered by the Bulldogs here in studio and online.
Yeah, I was gonna say how it fits into our take a lap segment here, but the fact that they signed with the Blackhawks, I understand. I understand.
Yeah, your immediate playing time. Immediate.
Honestly, maybe.
No, 100%. Like he will play. Like the starting job is definitely taken, but the backup role is wide open, dude.
Sure.
Believe me.
Yeah. Secondary items that you had mentioned there. AJ Rails very excited.
Yeah.
Phenomenal prospect. I think Ethan Dahlmeyer got a couple of looks this year. I think he'll probably still be around next year.
Will
guess
he
I
be a
don't know.
junior next year, Veach? Is he a
Yeah,
sophomore
because
this
he
year?
started
Yeah.
in Miami, and this was
Yep.
his sophomore
Okay.
year, so he'll be a junior next year. And then we've got two, really high prospects. I think Axelson is the one that's actually officially signed. I don't know if Rails has gotten the word that you're
Okay.
also coming up, because that would put us at 4 goalies.
Just a lot.
Yeah, especially for the reduced roster that everybody's kind of hamstrung with right now. So those two are probably fighting for a spot. I would say Dahlmeyer has probably earned the right to fight for that spot as well. He doesn't come in with as many accolades as probably those
Sure.
two do. I want to say Axelson had some time with the junior team for not Switzerland, Sweden, and then I believe Rails was practicing at least with the World Junior team for the U.S. as well. So yeah, I think they might not have the experience in the World Junior tournament that
Sure.
Guyon had coming in, but there's plenty of other goalies that have shown up and shown out that might not have the reputation that they already have as well. So excited for those as well.
Yeah, I think next year's, and we can talk more about this when we get into college hockey, but I'm very excited for the Bulldogs next season. But it just depends on who stays and who leaves. So before I talk too much about UMD and college hockey, we should jump into Take a Lap. Veach, do you want to kick us off for Take a Lap?
Yeah, Take a Lap. I'm going to give it to the NCAA hockey tournament committee and the insistence on continuing the farce that is successful regional sites hosting these tournaments. I would say attendance was horrendous, especially for the first couple of games here. Albany was listed as having the highest attendance at 7,000. I think you saw some of the guys from the Spit and Chicklets podcast and others that were in the arena say there was absolutely nowhere close to 7,000 people, even when you combine the first and second games together. There you see the lower bowl, and it's kind of an embarrassing show out. And you've got 3 contenders in that regional, and it's in New York or the Northeast, where it's supposed to be a more densely populated crew of hockey fans, and it just isn't working. The rink had to have the same pane of glass replaced 3 different times. So
that was
unbelievable.
It's insane. And you know what? As a Bulldog fan, I'm complaining about it, and it benefited our team because we've got Max Plant out there at a half, and Zam, and Ty Hansen out there at a half an hour a night, and they benefited from a 15 or plus minute break every time that they were playing to go and fix this pain. But still, as a fan of hockey in general, it's infuriating. The ice was soft. It was slow. The snow buildup was not as bad as maybe I've seen it on some other rinks, but still bad compared to what you see in a normal rink. They don't host hockey there anymore. So it's just like, yes, you can, but should you? Absolutely not. And so take a lap to everybody that's insisting on doing that. Next year, we've got roughly the same general areas as far as regionals go. Loveland, Colorado, again, how they keep getting that, I don't know. They just keep funding it, and it's a private institution, so they've got plenty of funds. Fargo, North Dakota, which what's the difference between Fargo and Sioux Falls? I don't know, like 100 miles and nothing else. Springfield, Massachusetts, and Bridgeport, Connecticut. So I've got nothing for you. I'm hoping and praying that that changes, and we get some cancellations of these. I posted online, I think refund the schools that put the money into it. And then I thought to myself, they don't put money into any of these things anyway, and there's no advertising in these cities, there's no promotion or anything. You could be walking downtown or right across from the arena and not knowing it's going on outside of people walking in with jerseys on. It's insane. I hate the way that it's handled. I think it's time to go back to the regional sites. David Carl is the biggest proponent. He's much more eloquent and will say it a lot clearer than I ever could. And obviously he's got a much stronger podium to stand behind when he's doing it based on his position. But yeah, I'm not the only one. And I think the train is gaining momentum to take it away from these, remote regionals, put it back on campuses.
Well, you got to also reward the teams that get the 1 seeds, right? Like, I don't know if there's any like overlap between the two committees that do the basketball of the March Madness field and the Frozen Four, but like reward your teams that have good seasons. Like to me, it's that simple. And also, like if you want it to be a packed barn or closer to capacity, you're gonna have better luck than when you're doing it in the middle of nowhere. And there's maybe not a hockey crowd there. So I totally agree with you, Veach. There was a lot of chatter about that on social, and I think it is one of the biggest issues about, this hockey tournament. But yeah, I could not agree more with you.
Yeah, I think the biggest, detractors or people saying that it wouldn't work out are looking at Denver and saying, yes, you won it at home, if you will, this year, the regional that you were hosting, but they've gone out of state and won at other places as well. They've been probably the most successful college or university that has thrived in this era of the remote regionals, and they're the loudest proponent to switch it back to home sites. And that would have had them playing in Western Michigan. And I think Western Michigan probably would have benefited from that in the championship game of their regional as well. And it doesn't matter to them. And so I think that's obviously a big thing. Some other detractors say, a lot of these colleges, can only fit, 35 or 2,500 people or even less in some cases. And I'm just like, that's true, but how often are those colleges the number one seed in college hockey?
Yeah.
Almost never. Like, I think Quinnipiac is the most recent one that's under 5,000 seats. That was a number one seed. Maybe there's a couple of that were right on the fringe. Technically, Western Michigan is there as well. I think their older one is 3,500, but they're getting a brand new barn as well. That's, a couple $1 billion or whatever it is. So that won't be that same, or that won't be that way for much longer anyways. So yes, you're going to get a Quinnipiac or maybe a Cornell or some of these other ones, but like so few and far between that it's not going to matter. And then two, yes, their capacity is small, but you're going to have a full barn rather than an empty one. And a full barn to them is the same number of tickets you're selling at this remote regional anyway. So what's the difference?
Right.
I don't get it.
Either do I. It's just insane to me.
Yeah.
That was a great take a lap. Sarge.
Mine is in a similar vein, but it's every single MLB umpire.
Oh,
take
why?
a fucking lap. You are all now going to be exposed for the bullshit calls you've been making all for years, dude. Do you guys know who CB Buckner is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming everyone saw that online, but he's such a bad umpire. I can't believe he's been around that long. It's probably because people just get sick of umping and then just never get to it, or there's like some seniority deal where like, oh, they have to retire before they get some new crop in. But holy shit, dude, this guy's retiring this year, mid-year. I bet he's gonna get exposed. Apparently, he had like 5 overturned calls that were balls and
with
strikes.
that ABS system.
Correct, and there could have been more, but you only get 2 challenges, and sometimes he is right, but most of the time, like on those outside low pitches, he'll just miss it. Like he loves calling stuff inside. But anyways, all of them were getting exposed, and I'm so happy because baseball is already long enough with balls and strikes and arguments and stuff. And like, way to speed up the game. Robots, baby. Let's do it. I'm in on the robots for umps. Not any other sport, but they're besides the balls. Like, when they're switching out balls, they're really almost useless right now.
Was it Angel Hernandez a couple years ago that wore like the Ump Lives Matter or whatever the wristband was?
Oh, I'm
when people were
sure.
making fun of him?
I remember that. I can't remember who it was, but I remember that whole thing.
Sounds about right.
Going around.
I'm waiting for that to come around again because of all of the heat that these umpires are taking for making such bad calls and just getting exposed now and not having to really answer for it outside of, or sorry, having to answer for it now in post media conferences saying, hey, you got 7 overturned calls in 3 innings here. What the heck was that about? Like, how are you going to improve? And they don't have answers for it.
It's insane. It's just nuts.
Yeah, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, it'll help speed up the game, which I like. I like where baseball's going. I think they're trending in the right direction. It just sucks the Twins freaking.
They're gonna suck ass, guys. Like they're
gonna be so bad.
Another long
be
season
horrible.
of baseball here in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area.
Is Buxton hurt already?
No, he's good.
Is
For
anyone
now.
hurt?
No.
Yeah, they played the Royals tonight. We'll see, but yeah, it's gonna be a long one.
All right, I will round us out then with Take a Lap. My take a lap this week is me, fellas, and I had a terrible work accident today.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
I walked down into my basement, logged on to my computer, and I was like, oh, my tummy feels kind of funny. And so I decided to fart.
Oh.
I felt some very warm air come up my backside under my hoodie. And let's just say there was anal seepage that had come out of my butt. It squirted all over my undershirt and hoodie that I had. Not only that, is I had a blanket on because I work in the basement where it's cold.
In chili.
Relatable. Hey, relatable.
It had gotten all over my blanket. And so
Oh
I
no.
my butt cheeks and walk up 3 floors to go to the bathroom, and I had probably 15, 20 minutes ago just gotten out of the shower and hopped right back in and did a load of laundry. So April Fool's Day, again, everyone, never trust a fart. That's what you can take away from this story.
I love this. It makes me giggle, and that's how I know I'm still young at heart. Is I still find poop jokes
Yep.
and farts.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely hilarious. And I don't want to say you're old now, but that's the mark. That's gonna happen to you once
It's-
every 3 or 4 years.
I honestly was really going to put myself as wild take, and my goal for the rest of the year would be not to shit my pants. But
Oh, you nailed it for this year. You're good for the year.
I really could see this happening again. I don't know if it was
Yeah.
the combination of eggs and cottage cheese that I was eating, or if the coffee was just coursing through me. But yeah, so it
That
took me till April
sucks.
to shit my pants. So that was a fun way to start the day.
Not an April Fool's joke. Real
Not
thing.
an April Fool's joke. Actually happened.
Ugh.
Ugh, just disgusting. Bad way to start. Shitty way to start your
Yeah.
morning.
Literally.
All right, should we talk about the Wild?
We can try.
All right. Well, there wasn't much going on as it relates to the Wild universe. They only had 2 games since we had our last show. We had the win against the Panthers, a 3-2 win, and then a loss at the Bruins, 3-6 loss or a 6-3 loss there. Really, what kind of my takeaways, and I think we can just kind of tie the 2 games together, is the Wild appear to have hit their quote unquote annual slump of the season. Typically it's more around Christmas, winter time. But it seems like we're just kind of going through kind of the playoff stretch here, and we're just kind of playing lackadaisical hockey. So Veach, I don't know if you got to tune into either of those games or listen, but any notes that you wanted to call, and I can jump into some of the highlights here from the games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you beat the Panthers, it feels good just given what success that they have had, regardless of how this season's going for them. It's a nice win to get, and so 3-2, it was closer than it probably should have been.
Yeah.
But the bigger one that I wanted to talk about was the loss to the Bruins. The Bruins are, they're making a little bit of a push, but they've been a hapless team for the majority of the season, and losing to them 6-3 when you've got, I think we had all of our guys back for that game, didn't we?
Yep, you're correct.
And so it's like, they're playing uninspired hockey is kind of how my father-in-law put it to me. And it was just like,
Yeah.
that is the perfect way to put it right now. And I get it. Like the Wild, they're kind of in purgatory right now. You can't lose enough games to make it to that wild card 1 spot on purpose. You can't win
Yeah.
enough games to really overtake anybody. You're stuck in that third spot in the Central right now and West. So I get it to some extent, but at the same time, it's like, do you really want that mentality, going into
That's-
the playoffs, knowing that you're going to play
Mhm.
Dallas in that first round already? You've got weeks to prepare for it. And so it's just like, I need them to start, turning stuff around and playing with a little bit more fire. Yes, you don't need to win these games, but you need to sharpen what you're leaning towards here. And if that means, figuring out the lines that are going to work best against Dallas, and regardless of how you play against these other teams, run those into the ground over and over and over again so that they get comfortable, do it. I just give me that first round win, put the last couple of weeks of the season here into doing that, because what's going to be, that's going to be your matchup in the first round.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it on the head. And you used a good word, purgatory. Like that's where the Wild are right now. It's frustrating, I think, as a fan, because we are, or at least tonight. I don't know if Dallas plays, but I have that we are currently 6 points back of Dallas. So and I think we have a game in hand if I looked at the standings correctly, and I think 6 points might be too big to overcome with how Dallas is playing. They're kind of hitting their stride, which I wish the Wild could just have a little bit of momentum going into the playoffs. But yeah, that Bruins game was pretty ugly. It didn't seem like anything went our way. Nothing was really clicking. I mean, I know Kaprizov got his 39th of the year, so he'll be over 40 goals this year. Zucky scored on the power play his 15th, and Hartman scored his 18th. But Gus didn't have a good game, which makes me, I don't know, question what we're going to do a little bit more come playoffs. Any
Yeah.
thoughts on kind of the goaltending situation as the Wild, I almost said the Vikings for whatever reason, but as the Wild kind of gear up for the playoffs here, what's kind of your expectation with the goaltending situation?
Yeah, if you asked me this 2 weeks ago, I would have said, you based on his tenure, you have to start Gus. I wouldn't
Yeah.
see it any other way, but I'm not seeing the fight out of him. It's similar to what the play is in front of him, and it's just like you have to ride whoever is going to be the hottest. And this last couple of weeks, if I were a coach, and I'm not, and there's probably a good reason for that, but I would be using it as a tryout, saying, hey, whichever one of you guys wants this more is going to get the start, and flat out tell them that, because I need them to be kind of locked in and competing for that starting role, because right now I wouldn't say that it should be guaranteed to Gus or Wally. And whether you do it on a goals against average basis or a total save basis or whatever, some combination of the two, figure out a way to make the last couple of weeks of competition and just start whoever is playing better the last couple of games.
Yeah, just an open tryout between those two guys, because I think Wallstead in the Panthers game, granted it wasn't a ton of shots, but he did save 18 of 20 in the Panthers win, which would have been nice because I feel like the Panthers are pretty actively and openly tanking. Would have been nice to just kind of hang a crooked number on them, take advantage of having a few players out for the Panthers. But yeah, it's an interesting situation to say the least. I really thought that Gus would have stolen the net by now, but it looks like things are kind of swinging back in Wallstead's side. So yeah, Sarge, any thoughts on Wild games from the week?
No, I was making sure the audio was good, so I didn't listen to a fucking thing Veach was saying for however long it was, 40 seconds.
I'm not intelligent enough that you need to listen to anyway. It's just opinions of some guy that watches hockey, and that's all I do.
I mean, dude, I'm
Those are
just.
the opinions that matter, though.
I mean, this software's been all fucky for the past month, and I'm just kind of paranoid, and just So I haven't been paying attention, but I'll say this: there's no reason to play hard right now if you're the Wild. I don't know how you even get up for these games. You're stuck. So fucking if they mail it in, I don't think I'm that worried. There's nothing to play for right now. I don't know. Just don't get hurt. Basically, is all you're playing for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Sarge, you're saying the opposite of what I'm saying, but the same sentiment at the end is I need them to use these all as a tune-up and a tryout, if you will. But staying healthy is probably the number one thing. You don't need to be going, head first hard into corners. Ecker, maybe don't take 75 cross checks in the lower back in front of the net. Foligno, a couple less fights. Obviously that's kind of your role in most games and cases. You're the big guy out there. Pick and choose where they're really necessary. Protect the talent out there if you really want to. But yeah, play smart.
Agreed. Veach, I had one more question on the kind of my Wild recap notes here. And I think I had asked Voss this when we did the show a couple weeks back together. Do you think the Wild made too many moves at the trade deadline? And do you think that's impacting how the team plays? New guys, new systems, kind of still figuring out what line combos work? Do you see any impact from the games that you've watched?
Yeah, I would say the impact is we got bigger and slower. I don't necessarily know that that's the reason that it's different. It is different guys playing, with new skaters. So you don't have that secondary instinct of, oh, I've played with this guy for 70 games or whatever this season, and I know where they're going to be on the ice at this certain time. You're kind of merging different styles. They're trying to learn the new style of the Minnesota Wild as they're coming in here. So like there is going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. I do think it will benefit them more in the playoffs when you get a little bit more of that physicality allowed from the referees and just how playoffs typically go anyway. So I don't necessarily think it will be a long-term problem, but I could see how people find it maybe frustrating to see now as they work out the kinks.
Yeah, agreed. Did you have any other notes? My notes were pretty brief from last week because it was only 2 games.
Yeah,
just
move on. Who cares?
Just the 2 games. There wasn't a ton there. The Bruins game made me really, really mad, and I think I already got that off my chest. So
so I'll just
let's
recap, and then we can talk about the upcoming Wild games, and we can be quick through that so we can spend a good chunk of time talking about college hockey. But the Wild, just to recap for everyone, they went 1-1-0 and got 3 points last week or in their 2 games. They're currently 6 points back of Dallas for that second wild card spot. Upcoming Wild games, so we will have a lot to talk about by the next show. We got 4 games, and I would say all these at face value are winnable games. We got the Canucks tomorrow night. Canucks have 50 points on the season, so they're a bottom feeder. So we'll get to see that tribute video of Rossi. We won't forget Liam Ogren and Zeev Buium. And then on Saturday, we are against the Senators in Ottawa. Senators are fighting for a playoff spot still. They got 86 points on the year. And then on Sunday, we play at the Red Wings, who have also 86 points on the year, but they are fading. And then the Wild host the Kraken on Tuesday. Kraken are currently at 75 points and starting to fade fast in the West playoff division. Any thoughts on the upcoming games?
Number one thought right now, that Canucks game, was that tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun one for everybody that's able to make it there. You mentioned the tribute videos. I don't know who all is going to be in the tribute video or mentioned, or if there is actually going to be one. They're all pretty young guys, but to not mention it at all would be a little crazy.
You think so? I think that's a fucking bitch move as an organization. If you have a tribute video for those guys. Oh my god!
I'm trying to think of who Rossi is probably the only one that you would make it for.
Yeah.
Like Zeev Buium played what, 20 games for the Wild over a year?
Yeah. That's why Mikko Koivu's in the fucking rafters. I'll tell you that right now. It's just a sad organization.
Shut out Miku.
Sad organization is a bit strange. In the last decade, I think the Wild have double the wins that the Blackhawks.
Oh, triple! At least.
The rich history may be different, but if I'm going off recency bias a little bit here.
As you should. Yeah, that's your angle. That's your leverage.
Yeah, that game will be fun. I guess the one that gets me interested, based on the happenings of today, and I haven't listened to the podcast, so I don't know anything about what goes into it. But it sounds like the Tkachuk brothers are stirring up a little bit of controversy here, and the Senators might not be very happy with Brady's comments on there about his, I don't know if it's his position on the team, the playing minutes or style, or the organization in general. All I heard was that there's going to be a lot of unhappy people in Ottawa with Brady, and so
oh boy,
I'm curious to see what that's going to be like. And is that their first game, or do they have one before we play them on Saturday? They have to.
Just the Canucks. So it goes Canucks, then Sens.
Okay, so maybe that'll still be fresh. I don't know. There could be some suspensions or news of conduct detrimental to the team or whatever. That would be nuts for them, but not out of the question. So another thing to watch there. The Red Wings, I'll be honest, for a team that's been as good over my lifetime as the Red Wings have, I've kind of forgotten they've existed over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
I want to see them back, dude. I do.
Like the hockey is so much better when they are a really good team. And Max Plant has got a lot of the people in Detroit drooling based on the accolades that he's kind of getting at UMD, and front runner for the Hobie, in my opinion, totally not biased at all. And I don't want them to get too excited or push for it too much because I need to see him in the Bulldog sweater one more year. I think he will because Victor's coming in. You can see all three
Yeah,
Platt brothers
yep.
together. I think that's a goal of theirs. Thankful for that, but they're on their way. I would say they're not as hapless as they were 2-3 years ago in the Yser plan. So I don't have any major expectations for any of these games. I think all
No.
4 are winnable for the Wild.
Mhm.
I don't think that there's any world beaters in there. I don't have very much confidence given what we've seen over the last 4 or
Yeah.
5 games. So it's like, can I see him going 2-2 over there when they probably should go 3-1? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at.
That's where I'm at too. And looking at the schedule, I thought 500. It's not necessarily great, but hey, it's better than losing all 4 games. So
Yeah. I was just looking. I see that the Wild don't have an X next to their name as clinched a playoff spot.
I saw that today.
How is that possible that they can't drop enough to make it to a wild card spot, but they haven't clinched a playoff spot? Is that just assuming like, hey, worst case scenario, all of these teams below them would also have to lose, and theoretically they could drop out?
It's got to be theoretically because
Yeah, okay.
because I think they had a clinching scenario. Was it the Panthers game? They needed a bunch of things to happen and go their way. They needed
Yeah.
I think there were 7 teams that needed to lose or
Sure.
or not go into overtime, and I think a bunch of games went into overtime, and so I think it's
Sure.
just all theory.
So by the time we're talking next week, they'll have clinched a spot.
I would assume so. That'd be kind of nuts if they didn't. If we're still talking about this and not previewing the Dallas series at that
Yeah.
point in time, I would be shocked. So that means the wheels really would have fallen off then. So,
That would be brutal.
well, let's talk about something that has the wheels in full swing: college hockey and the Frozen Four. Veach, I will let you take this one, and then I will chime in where I have input.
Yeah, we're going to have an extended talk about the
Yeah.
Bulldogs since there's 3 Bulldogs on. Just giving you,
Fair warning.
some foreshadowing maybe.
Okay, we'll save that for the end then. I want to go through as just a kind of a recap. I know you guys kind of breezed through the notes last week. I don't blame you for not reading all of the notes. There was a lot that I put in.
It was
there.
a thesis paper.
Too thorough, Veach.
I know.
Too much.
Here's the thing. I tried to put it in bullet points, so it didn't seem like as much. But then I started to see the paragraphs go like this for each of the teams. And I was like, okay, that's too much. They can just pick and choose and whatever.
Veach, I've never
But-
told you this, but when we were blogging all your
this is
weekly
fun.
college hockey things, I for the first 3 when I was editing, I read them, and then eventually I got to the point where I just didn't even fucking read them. I was like, this is too much, dude. I can't read this much. And there was no spelling errors ever. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good with this. And I would miss them anyways too because I'm dyslexic. But anyways, carry on.
I'll be honest, Sarge. I knew that was the case just based on the fact of how quickly they ended up getting posted when they sent them in. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the confidence in there, but just going through, I think the first round went exactly as expected with a couple of exceptions. No, I'll bring those up when we get there. But
Okay.
Western beats Minnesota State. Both of them kind of went into that game as, hey, we're really good teams. Western's the number 1 team. Minnesota State's the number 1 team in the CCHA. There's a big asterisk between those two. They are they are heavily reliant on the play of their goaltenders, and Hampton Slukinski got a little bit more help up front. Denver dominated Cornell. You guys saw me, absolutely rip on the ECAC in those lists, saying they haven't beaten anybody all year. They didn't, and then Denver killed them 5-0. You get a rematch in that regional final of Denver and Western Michigan. They've gone to double overtime the last 2 times they met in the playoffs. They split regular season series this year. I thought it would be a lot closer game. Denver kind of owned them. They came out of the gates running, and they ended up winning 6-2. The game wasn't even that close when you were actually watching it. So credit to Denver, credit to Johnny Hicks. Still hasn't lost a game since he took over the net for the Pios.
That's insane.
In Sioux Falls, you had North Dakota as the 1 seed there, taking on Merrimack. That was the technically not the sacrificial lamb, although it is a sacrificial lamb. They won the Hockey East tournament, and they should get a lot of credit for that. They had to beat a lot of good teams to do that. they were never going to win this game. Their
No.
goalie
No.
played, their goalie played absolutely out of their minds in the game, and he still gave up 3 goals. Talking about goalies, Jan Spoonar for North Dakota hasn't given up a goal throughout the tournament, and that should tell you where I'm going next when they play Quinnipiac. But they win 3-0. Again, that probably should have been closer to 4 or 5 in that game, despite the fact that North Dakota did not have their best. Providence and Quinnipiac. This is the one of the ones that I had wrong, although I said it was basically a toss-up. Providence, I expected to come out just because they had played and won more games against playoff teams this year. Quinnipiac took it to them. They just came out with a better game plan and executed better. Providence tried to make a later rally, not enough to keep up with the lead that Quinnipiac already had gotten. They made it on, and then Quinnipiac got that same level of effort or that same treatment from North Dakota in that next game. Nodak came out with the best game that they had all year, and they won 5-0. They embarrassed the Bobcats, and they kind of sent them home with some big thoughts to make.
Outclassed, as some would say.
Yes, not even particularly close in that game. Then you make it up to the Michigan State and UConn game. I would say that one was probably the toughest draw for any of the 1 seeds. That was in my notes, and it turned out to be the case for that game. Only won 2-1, so 1-goal game. Not the best out of the forwards in that game. Trey Augustine played well, obviously only giving up 1. You kind of expect that out of a Richter finalist and a Hobie finalist. They played as advertised for the most part. Then you go into the other game, Wisconsin-Dartmouth. Again, the ECAC hadn't beaten anybody this year, and it turns out they can't really beat anybody when it comes down to it. I call them frauds. I think from week 7 on, because they didn't play the first 4 weeks of the season, and then they took them a little while to get up to that number 1 ranking. Never should have been that high. They lost 5-1 to Wisconsin. Got absolutely blown out. Tate McRae's brother crying on the bench. Not actually, but I just have to bring it up anyways. As just a point of conversation, just for the clicks. And then you get the Big Ten match of Michigan State and Wisconsin. And, you watch the first 2 periods of that game. A lot of people basically shut it off, counted it out, and said, oh, the Spartans are rolling on. And Wisconsin said, oh, no. We're not out of this. They come back and end up winning 4-3. The late playoff push there gets them over the hump. Hastings got the most out of his guys, and I didn't see Wisconsin making it out of that regional. I think they played probably more enthusiastic than anybody. It just took them a while to get going. And Michigan State, Trey Augustine, despite having an illustrious college career, never makes it to a Frozen Four. The Spartans under their new regime, despite the fact that they've got one of the highest NIL spends and the most talented rosters, the most draft picks, not than anybody, but one of the most, still haven't made it to the Frozen Four. So small sample size. I think it will come for them, but just weird that it hasn't happened yet. Credit to Wisconsin. I think that they are the longest shot in the Frozen Four as far as odds go right now. And then you get to Albany. The first game, Michigan and Bentley. This was a sacrificial lamb game.
Yep.
Bentley coming out of the Atlantic Hockey Conference. We have seen big upsets from that conference over, notably, the Gophers and St. Cloud State twice. So it is comical to mention it, at least to a lot of the friends that we've got in state here. Because those are the biggest games, and it's against some of UMD's rivals. But no such luck for Bentley this year. They gave BC a good shot last year, not so much. Michigan beat them 5-1. I think it was 5-0 at one point, and then Bentley just got a late goal after the announcers' jinx of saying shutout a couple times in a row. So shout out to the announcers for making that happen. And then the best game of the first round, I don't think it was particularly close. Technically a 2-goal win, so by goals, it wasn't the closest. Michigan State UConn was, but as far as play goes, this was the most exciting. Back and forth between Penn State and UMD. Penn State gets the first goal, kind of has UMD on their heels. We mentioned it earlier, the glass breaks, if you will, comes dislodged. I'm not exactly sure what happened out there. Have to replace the panel. 20-minute stretch, UMD kind of regroups. Period 2, they take it back to them, and then close it out in period 3 for a 3-1 win, and everybody feels good. The entirety of the internet online is kind of dogging McKenna for better or worse. What I will say on that, I think it was Colby Cohen and probably Bucci and maybe some other people as well saying, why is there so much discourse online about McKenna leaving, and why is there so much discourse or hate towards a kid that's a number 1 pick? We've been drooling to have this level of talent in college hockey. Yes, you are absolutely right. We do want that talent in college hockey. The reason that everybody hates it is not because he is the most talented. Yes, you should be talking about the most talented player. It's the fact that he's the only one that got attention. It's the fact that he went to Penn State, who broke up the WCHA and the best conference in college hockey. And there's a lot of people that harbor resentment for that. It's the fact that he took $700,000. It's the fact that, there's so many compounding things that go into it. It's not just the fact that he is, the best player getting attention. It's all of that kind of combined into one. So that is why the entirety or the majority of people in college hockey were happy to see him out, because that means the rest of the teams are finally getting a shot to have some shine and some attention put on their players, deservedly so, specifically being either higher seeds or making it a little bit further into the tournament there. So just wanted to clarify that for people that were still wondering that for whatever reason. And then you get into the championship game of that regional. Michigan got out to an early lead. UMD gave up 3 goals right out of the gate. Not ideal.
No.
The first goal was an incredible tip. I think that would have went in on Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky. It would have went in on anybody. It was a tip, maybe not complete opposite direction, but bounced off the ice, hit the post, and went in. It was an impossible save. You can't fault Gaio on that one. The second one, it was a wide open, pass across ice. Gaio actually slid across, got his glove on it. It hit right off of his wrist and went in. So a couple inches away from making a good save. And the third goal was, a lapse in judgment. Ty Hansen doing a drop pass, not putting enough, emphasis on getting the puck backwards and just kind of leaving it there, telegraphing it a little bit. Michigan coming in, grabbing it, and kind of having a breakaway opportunity.
Shorthanded too, I believe, on that one.
Oh yeah,
shorthanded. Yeah,
brutal.
So demoralizing there to give that up. I thought second period, if they could get another one, kind of 1 goal and cut the deficit, it would be good. They weren't able to do that, but at the same, on the same note, Michigan didn't score anymore. I think UMD had a much better second period. That's how they wanted to play. Max Plant missed a breakaway opportunity there. You don't often see that. And I think there was another post hit off the crossbar in that period as well. So we're, 2 inches away from having a 3-2 game going into the third period with momentum. Just not the case. And then in the third period, you start to see some wheels turning there. You get a Ty Hansen goal. You get, I think Hunter Anderson had either the first or the second one.
It was Bentz.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where it's like, oh, UMD is making a late comeback here, and Michigan gets one, but it's still 4-3 going really, really late into the game there. And yes, UMD had 7 players on the ice for a very short period of time with the goalie pulled. I did see that highlight. I'm not,
I didn't see shit.
I won't be like Sarge. I will acknowledge that. But
no idea what you're talking about. No idea.
If we're going to, complain about that, let's talk about the play where the UMD player is sitting in front of the net and literally gets grabbed from behind and suplexed with no puck anywhere near him. Like, tit for tat. Like, we have equal complaints here. The puck comes squirting out. Like, if he's there, maybe he grabs it and puts it in. I don't know. So they had their opportunities there. I think that, despite the fact that they ended up losing that game, all credit to Michigan. They're a great team. I will say that they proved that they could play with anybody, because Michigan was the number 1 seed going into the tournament, and UMD stuck right with them despite the fact that they gave them a 3-0 lead. So a lot to be proud of on the season, a lot to be proud of in the playoff run, a lot to be excited about going into next year with some incoming talent, hopefully a lot of retained talent. I know there's a lot of questions about, whether Max Plant's actually going to stay and kind of, fulfill his own dreams and wishes and end up playing with both brothers, whether Kleber is going to be back or Buffalo is going to try and sign him. I think that depends probably on their own playoff runs and whatnot. I think the rest of the team is probably pretty locked in. Success, you when you have success like this, you don't see a lot of the departures. You see a lot of guys wanting to say, this team was close. I think I can bring them over the edge and kind of come in there. We mentioned the two good goalie prospects coming in, Dahlmeyer maybe being able to challenge for the net and make it a little bit more exciting there. But regardless, what do you guys want to say about UMD before we talk about the Frozen Four?
Well, it was just super fun to see them back.
Yes.
I mean, the past couple of years have been brutal. I mean, for me, I would say I'm a bigger Bulldog fan than even a Wild fan.
Yeah.
When I went to college there, those hockey games were the best. I mean,
The
the
fucking
environment was
best.
great. Even when it was at Amsoil, and then they went over, or the deck, sorry,
deck.
to
The
Amsoil.
deck was kind of sick.
It kind of had some cool
I kind of love the deck. It
character,
was
kind of
super vertical in the upper deck.
yeah.
Yeah, it was very hard to drink there and feel like you were gonna fall over walking up those steps for sure.
Sarge, I don't want to out you here, but I don't think you could drink there. I think you had to go to the Blue Line Club to drink when they were playing at the deck.
Not if you're
Oh.
a smart guy like myself. And when I say smart, I mean like street smarts,
I know.
not book
I
smart
know.
over here.
But yeah, I would say a very successful season.
Oh yeah.
It was a bummer, Sarge and I were watching the game together, and I think Sarge had ran up to the restroom, and then that's when we scored on the power play goal, and it was like, oh my gosh, they still have a chance. There's 5 minutes left, and that was the shortest 5 minutes of time that has ever gone by in the history of hockey. It just felt
Yeah.
like it went by in the blink of an eye, and
Instantly.
we had our chances, but I think like the key takeaway for me, and it was really Sarge's point, is we didn't have any puck luck that game. I don't know how many missed opportunities we had, pucks in front of the net, just
Yep.
missing a guy, not making a great pass. That was unfortunate, but at the end of the day, you need a little bit of luck. So
Yep.
fun season
Totally
though.
agree.
Sarge, what do you think of the Bulldogs season?
Yeah, they just kind of it. I knew when Max Plant hit the post on that breakaway when he 100% had the goalie beat. I'm like, I don't think we got this one. Like
It just didn't feel right.
that felt just so unlucky because he scored that goal. I don't know, at least 16 times this year. He scored a goal like that, like just a simple backhand move coming with speed. He's got that. Fucking hits the post with a wide open net. I'm like, I don't like that at all. But yeah, at the end of that ended push, it was good to see. And Michigan can easily win the national championship. That wouldn't shock me in the slightest. They're fucking good, man. They were
They're good.
during that second period, they were giving it to us. We didn't have a shot for like 12, 15 minutes. Like they were blocking shots. They were doing all the right things. That's a good team.
That was my biggest takeaway from this game. Is this is not something I see in many Big Ten teams. For sure, not Penn State. They're shoot and outshoot people and try and outscore them. But Michigan this year is different than what I've seen in the past in terms of the willingness, if you will, to block shots.
Oh yeah.
One, they've got an incredible goalie in Ivan Kovic or whatever, however you pronounce that the name. They finally got their guy back there. But two, the blocking shots, getting sticks and bodies in lanes, and just kind of interrupting the play for everybody else was on a different level than anything I've seen this year from anybody else. And
Especially from their wings on our D,
Yeah.
and then in the slot, dude. We had like 6 opportunities that got blocked, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck, dude, get out of the way! Stop blocking our shots."
Kind of hockey that matters though at
Yeah,
this time
yeah.
of year. I mean, you even see it in the NHL, right? Like the small components of the game can separate you from potentially losing a game. It's crazy to see.
Yeah. So I totally agree, and that's a really good point to be brought up there. I think they will need to do that against Denver. It's going to be a lot harder, I think, against Denver when you've got Buckberger and Polkamp that are both kind of threats on the defensive side there. Polkamp will shoot it 14 times a game himself if he really kind of feels it. So it will be a little bit different than UMD where you've really only got Ty Hansen trying to fire it from the point there. Maybe you can throw Pionk in there as well from an offensive defense defensemen.
Oh,
But yeah,
probably
it'll be probably the big game. They'll probably get the night
Agreed.
game when you make it to the Frozen
Yeah.
Four in Vegas. They're at odd times
Thanks,
in
Dave.
Vegas. I think it's 2 and 5 o'clock. They'll probably get that 5 o'clock Vegas time slot between Michigan and Denver, and then you've got North Dakota and Wisconsin
Yep.
likely in the early slot.
Yeah, it'll be.
I was totally joking.
I think that game is the one that the Michigan Denver game is the one that I'm most excited for. I think Denver might be the team of destiny. They always play such good hockey this time of year. It's insane. I mean, they're just so responsible in their offensive and defensive zones. But yeah, I'm really excited to watch that one on Friday night. I think.
Yeah, battle tested. I think David Carl has
Thursday.
more experience this time of year than
Yeah.
any coach left in the tournament, and the players that have been there, know exactly what they're doing. They've felt defeat, at least last year,
Yeah.
and so they want another championship. It's going to be said over and over again that this is the Frozen Four of the Blue Bloods. Yes, these teams have won more than anybody else. They've got 10, 8,
Yep. See ya.
and 6 respectively between all of them.
Crazy.
But what I will say is, and people forget this, Michigan hasn't won since before Y2K. I think 1998.
Uh-oh. We're losing Beach. All right, we're gonna try to get him back.
All right, viewers, hold on. We're having technical difficulties, but we were running pretty good there for a while.
Oh, is he coming back?
I'm here.
He's here.
Oh, all right.
What I was saying is,
Oh no, we lost him. Oh no. All right.
He's got a little rollback
Yeah.
on.
Take it away.
All right, so I think what Veach was trying to say is between the 4 teams left, they account for the highest amount of championships at the college level. Michigan, he was saying, hadn't won before Y2K, so in the 90s. And then we got on the other side, so Michigan and Denver on next Thursday. That game is at 7:30, it looks like. And then the other semifinal game is Wisconsin, North Dakota. Is Veach back up and running?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Hell yeah.
I can hear you now. We're golden, I think.
Yeah, your recap was spot on. That's exactly what I was getting at there. You're going to hear that these are the blue bloods of college hockey, but what I will say is Michigan claiming a lot of these championships is like the Gophers claiming a lot of their football championships. They happened in the 30s and nobody cares. Like half the people that witnessed those are dead, and
R.I.P.
like who are you really playing there? I think there were some high school teams on their roster or their schedule at that point. So what are those titles? I only count titles since I was born, which I think is a fair assessment.
I like that.
1990 and on.
Yeah. If your championships happened in the 60s, it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't consider, like, the Twins, because, like, I don't consider that they've won a championship even though they have 2.
I think that's different. I was alive for that one, so I'm counting it. You weren't. You're a young guy.
I was.
We're all alive.
Yeah,
we're
were
the
all-
old farts
yeah.
in this studio.
Johns, you were alive? You're old?
He's older
Yeah,
than me
I'm older than Sarge.
Oh, what?
by like
That's why
a
you keep
month.
seeing me push
Oh,
on my
okay.
back because my little back keeps hurting super bad. I was telling Sarge about that. All right, back to the regular program. North Dakota and Wisconsin, if I could talk. Any call-outs on that game, Veach, that you wanted to go over? I couldn't tell if you were trying to talk a little bit about that game when we were having some tech issues, but just maybe recap that real quick in case the viewers couldn't hear.
Yeah, if North Dakota plays at 80% of the way that they did against Quinnipiac, I think that they win this game by 2 goals easily. Like, you bet the over on the puck line for North Dakota. If they're going to get that same level of effort, I think they're going to be the most well-represented team in Vegas. I think a lot of the fan base of North Dakota is also a fan of Vegas. I feel like they've played at maybe the T-Mobile Arena before. I don't know if that was where they played the Desert Classic against Arizona or not. I know they ended up losing that game, so not a great history in Vegas as of late. But it feels like they may be the team of destiny on that side of the bracket. And Does that make me an NCHC homer, thinking that it's going to be Denver, North Dakota again? Yes, absolutely. But history is on my side. I don't know if you know, but 7 of the last 9 have gone to the NCHC. So I'm just hedging my bets, and I'm riding with those two.
Love it. Do you have any other notes on the college hockey or the Frozen Four, Veach?
I do not. I'm very excited about it. I obviously wish that UMD was in there.
Yeah.
The one benefit that we're going to get with, the 4 that are in there is you're going to see a lot more media coverage on it. So good for the sport overall, I hope. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Real quick, we didn't talk about this, but I feel like this was one of the hottest topics when Sarge and I were watching the Bulldog Penn State game. How about the camera operator?
Oh yeah.
Smokes. The person operating the camera had to have never done camera operations for hockey.
Never
before,
worked
right?
hockey.
Yeah,
They could not find the puck. When I started counting, in the middle of the second period, and there were 8 times that the puck left the frame, like in that period, and I was like, "What are we doing here?" Like,
Oh, I know.
It was so annoying.
Insane.
Just ridiculous. All right, I just had to call that out because I feel like that was a big point from that game. All right, let's jump into wild takes and round out the show. Veach, take us away with your wild take for the week.
I hinted at it already. I think another NCHC team wins the national championship in the hockey this year. I do think it's going to be North Dakota. I think they're going to fulfill the prophecy. It's going to be first-year head coach. It's going to be lose to UMD in the NCHC tournament. It's going to be so many things are kind of falling into place where they're going to win another one in the same fashion that they did in 2016. It's going to be every 10 years for them. And if they only win one every 10 years, I think I would be okay with that. But
yeah,
they're looking good.
Sarge, real quick, what was your Frozen Four picks out of the 4 teams that are left?
What
did you have?
I think it's going to be Denver and
North Dakota.
That's
what I have too. Okay, cool. And
all 3 of us are such homers.
I am such a homer, dude. There's a part of me that actually wants Michigan to win, but the fact that they all claim that they won 19 titles is just a ginormous, like, not quite colored in, but asterisks. Yeah. Faded.
Yeah, and I guess you could say if Michigan ended up winning, Duluth lost to the champions.
Which would make me a little bit proud. I also don't want to see North Dakota win. I'll take Denver
North Dakota win either.
I don't care if they win.
Yeah, I think Denver, North Dakota, and Denver winning. So, yeah. All right, Sarge, wild take from you.
All right, Veach, I hope this fucking fires you up, but I think the Wings are better than the Beatles. And I fucking stand by that. I will die on that hill.
When you say you hope this fires me up, do you know my stance on the Beatles already?
No, I don't.
I think the Beatles stink.
They stink! They stink, dude. I do truly appreciate what they did for music and rock music in general. My favorite type of music. Like, I respect them.
100%.
But they are not my cup of tea at all. But what they did for music is so influential. Mad respect. I'm so happy they were a band. But fucking A, do they stink out loud, Beach.
I think about it and I'm just like, I would much rather listen to the Rolling Stones during that general era than I would the Beatles. Like,
oh, not even close. Yeah.
I would like, the Beatles did so many things first and they deserve all the credit for that. But when you do it first, it doesn't mean you do it best. It's the same thing that I have with Pulp Fiction. I think Pulp Fiction stinks for the same reason. Yes, it was the first style of that type of movie. I don't see the appeal to it all that much. And maybe you don't agree with that one, Sarge.
No, can you hear the drilling that's going in the background?
There's construction going on.
So yeah, our shout out Dave, our property manager. He came in mid show. You probably could hear that conversation I was having with him as well. But there is a new attendee next to us, and they're a doctor, a stem cell doctor, but they're putting in lighting equipment right now.
Oh, interesting.
So, but yeah, that's my hot take. Wild take. We'll just get this show over with because this has got to be annoying.
Everyone's like, what is going on? It's not me pooping my pants again, I swear this time. All right, I will round us out really quick for wild takes. It's a personal one. This year for golf, my goal is to break 95. So I'm not a great golfer. I typically average right in the low 100s, broken 100 a couple of times.
I was there with one of them. Shout out
My
me.
goal, yes, shout out Sarge. My goal this year is to shoot a 94. So gonna take a lot of work. I'm gonna have to find time to go to the range, but I will make sure that I keep Wild Wednesdays, for as long as this show goes on, updated on the upcoming golf season. So I know we're just
Johnson, here's
Yeah.
what you have to do. You have to golf with me, and you just have to mimic every shot that I do, because it doesn't matter what course I go to. I shoot a 94. I could be playing
'Kay.
Bethpage Black. I could
you're
be
gonna
playing
shoot a 94.
everywhere. Like, maybe not Bethpage Black, but like all of the courses I go to, I shoot a 94, regardless of if I
Okay.
start out, on par for the first 3 holes, which never happens. Let's be real. But like at the end of the day, when I'm adding everything up, I'm like, this
Yeah.
is a waste of time. Realistically, it's between a 92 and like a 98, but like
Okay,
I'm at 94
consistent.
consistently.
Okay.
Consistently.
Yeah, I'm dedicated to the game. I'm gonna sign up when I get home for my handicap, figure that out, go out and get to the range once a week, and I'm gonna try to play golf every other weekend this summer. That's my goal.
That's a great
Okay.
goal.
I think the more playing time will help. And if anyone in the chat has any tips or pointers, slide into my DMs, please, because I need all the pointers I can get. So,
Yeah. No free ads. Are you joining PCC?
no,
That's not worth it for him.
I don't think so. I know it pays for itself essentially, but I think I'm gonna hit up my instructor and try to do lessons again. That's kind of my goal. I've
Yep.
been seeing a guy kind of consistently and then a little bit on and off for the past couple of years, so I want to get back into it.
Yeah,
so.
that's the best way to get better is to take lessons.
It's fun too. Like I like the mental challenge of golf a lot. I just want to consistently be like, all right, I can easily break 100.
Dude, and I'll tell you, like once you start being way more consistent, it just gets exponentially more fun. Like when I finally started playing good golf, I was like, oh, I get it now. I finally get it, because I was just like you, dude. And then one summer up at UMD, Berg was selling fucking insurance, and I was going to school, so I didn't have a job because I couldn't do both for a summer. in Duluth.
information
I would
overload.
not have done one or the other. But anyways, we went to Superior. What the hell is that
National?
course? No, Namaji. Jesus
Oh
Christ.
yeah.
They had $100 college student summer pass, all you could golf. Me and
that's
Berg made
sick.
$5,000 easily. We went there every single day, damn near, and just golfed. I got so much better, and then it started to be fun.
Oh my gosh, this construction's
Yeah.
now really getting on my nerves.
Yeah, we should.
All right. I think with that, we will round out today's show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in on another edition of Wild Wednesdays. If you haven't, start stocking up on your captain's patch. We're supposed to be getting some spring weather eventually at some point in time. Great drink of summer and spring once it starts getting nice out. Also, go check out our shop. And go check out our USA hats. They are sick. We have a limited number. I think Sarge was saying, I think we have about like 15-ish.
Yeah.
Right around there. Go check those out so you don't look like a lazy ass this 4th of July. If you get it now, I guarantee shipping by the 4th of July.
If you get it now.
But you have to get it right now. Other than that, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Veach, good seeing you. Good having you back. And have a wonderful hump day.